Alright, so just got back from Japan for 2 weeks. I went to Tokyo, and then spent a few days in Kyoto, and then a few days back in Tokyo. So I thought I'd show you the impromptu manga quest I went on. Ended up getting quite a bit, a lot more than I thought I would, and found a lot of exciting stuff. So let's dive in. So first thing I want to say is, if you're going to Japan, and specifically Tokyo, and looking for old manga, looking for vintage books, you have to go to Jimbocho. You have to go to Jimbocho Booktown. It is literally like 3 blocks of just bookstores, and all types of bookstores too. You can't beat it. Look at this. You got blocks of bookstores. I mean, there's stuff up here too. The whole neighborhood. Every shop is a bookstore, and they sell everything, and it's all vintage. Well, there's a few new bookstores, and that's fine, but there's also like vintage manga stores, vintage bookstores, vintage magazines. There's galleries, there's cafes. It's amazing. Like, it's everything you could want. Really, I wanted to spend more time there. It was amazing. So most of the books I found were from there. There's a few that were not, and I'll mention those, but just assume that most of the places I'm going to talk about were from Jimbocho Booktown. So first thing is, I got these Furoku, which are kind of like one-off quarterly. They're part of the monthly mangas, but these were kind of separate things just to entice readers with short previews of, and this is usually original material. So I'm going to talk about a couple of these. So this one's Arashi Champion, and it's written by a name you might know, Jiro Kuwata. You might know the name Jiro Kuwata because he was the creator of 8-Man, and he also did the manga Batman series. And funny enough, the villain that fights our hero in the wrestling ring in this particular story, look what he's dressed like. Not a coincidence, I don't think. Check that out. And then on the back cover. That's the other thing too, these are extremely cheap because kids had drawn on them. They're a little rough shape. I don't think I paid more than 300 yen or 500 yen. This one was 300 yen. Most of these were 300 to 500 yen. So yeah, these are really cool, unique pieces of history. And they're otherwise really expensive. It's kind of like American comic books where you either get them for like nothing or you get them for, tens of thousands of dollars. So then the other one I wanted to highlight here was Sasuke by Sampei Shirato. You might know Sampei Shirato for Kamui, and this was one of his early series that was published in this format. Very similar to Kamui, but a little less of the political element to it. Still has a ninja action, has a young hero. A lot of times it's also known as Shonen Ninja Sasuke. And then, let's see here. So one of the things that I like in here that you see in a lot of Sampei Shirato's work with ninja action is you always have these enemy ninja that show up, and they show off their powers or display their powers to a bunch of samurai retainers who always look shocked and aghast at what they're seeing. And that goes for this as well. Here, let me see if I can find it. Certain tropes of his work, yeah, here we go. Certain tropes of his work that crop up, like right here. Look at all these guys. Oh, wow. Happens a lot in his work. So anyway, these are really cool, the Furoku, and yes, all of these were between 300 to 500 yen each. For something like with this kind of history, like I couldn't turn it down. So I got these, and as I was walking out, I noticed something else, and I almost did not pick it up, and I ended up turning back and getting it, because it's something I've wanted for a long time, and it was for the right price, and that is Shigeru Mizuki's Yokai picture book. Now, if you know Mizuki, he's the creator of Gegege no Kitaro. He did a lot of manga about his history in World War II, in the Showa era, contributed to Garo, but he's also very well known as like one of the historians on yokai. And that's part of Kitaro because he hangs out with yokai. So this is Yokai picture book, which gives you his interpretation of the yokai. Beautiful black and white illustrations. Look at that. Just great stuff. His Yuki Onna image is amazing. So anyway, I was really thrilled to get this. These have been republished in the last few years, but they're generally have added digital colors to them. They are in paperback, and they're not this format. They are digital formatting and re-editing, so it's nice to get the original 1970 editions with the original black and white illustrations. This is something I've wanted for a long time. I'm going to keep my eye out for the other editions, because there's other volumes of these. He even did one on Western and European monsters and ghosts as well. And then, something else I found that I almost picked up the last time I was in Japan, and I did not pick it up, and I regretted it, and I was happy to finally pick it up, is Tetsuwan no Tomu original. And these are publishing Adam or Astro Boy as it originally looked in the monthly manga magazines when Tezuka was first serializing it. And I didn't pick it up because I kind of went to myself, oh, I already have most of Astro Boy from the Dark Horse editions, so I don't need it. But what's great about these is that they published the original two-tone color printing on a lot of the opening title pages, which is great. I love seeing that. The blue ink they would use, the blue and red off ink, and then also a lot of times this was stuff that he redrew for later collected editions. I'm going to turn my other light on here. Ooh. Because a lot of times he would not, Tezuka wasn't happy with the original artwork as it was originally published, so he would go back in the tankobon editions and redraw the art a little bit. So it's really awesome to get the original pages as they were originally published with the off-red and blue ink. And you get these covers sometimes, which are great, or inside title pages. So super thrilled to get this. Very happy I finally got it. Glad I didn't turn it down this time. And this was only about 800 yen, which is about half off the original publishing price. It was like 1,600 yen when it first came out. Yeah, look at that. It's so great. So super thrilled to get this. Love the coloring on these, by the way. These are really great. Whenever they do full color pages for like the opening few pages, it's like, it just looks like you're looking at cell animation. Even Astro Boy, when it first appeared in animation, was in black and white, so people didn't even get it in color at that time, so this is unique. So yeah, super thrilled. Oh, there's a Tetsuwan 28 Gigantor. But yeah, super excited to get this. Love seeing this. It's inspirational to see these Tezuka pages at a larger size with the two-tone color inking. So yeah, there we go. Adam the original, Tetsuwan no Tomu. And then I got art book. This was not from one of the Jumbocha stores. This is from just a normal bookstore in Tokyo. I got Step 2 by Hisashi Eguchi. One of my favorite artists. He did a manga series called Stop Hibari-kun, and that's kind of, he doesn't do a lot of manga. He hasn't done a lot of manga since the 80s. He kind of does, he did more animation work and more advertising and graphic design work. He did have a art book that came out a few years ago I have called King of Pop, because he does a lot, as you can see, he has kind of a pop art style to his work. Great ink line, beautiful ink line, look at that. Like, he's one of my favorites. I would see girls wearing t-shirts and bags that had his art on it. He's still very popular in Japan. More for his advertising and commercial work than he is for his manga work at this point. Although while I was there, I found out they did have a book of all of his manga covers that's coming out, or just came out, so I might have to pick that up eventually, but it just came out, so I'm not in a rush. This was the one that I wanted, and I live near a Kinokuniya bookstore, and they hadn't gotten it in yet, and I figured I'll just pick it up. It's so cheap. This was like, what is this? Yeah, $21.50. That's not bad. It's like less than $20 US. These are designs for a recent anime he did called Sunny Boy. These are, a lot of times, these are header illustrations for articles in magazines. He'll do articles on celebrities, sports stars, pop stars. Others, Ichiro Suzuki. Yeah, I love his ink line. These are great. I mean, look at this Beat Takeshi, this Takeshi Katana. You can really see his ink line, the way he uses the brush. Great brush work when when he loosens up. I love it. The pen work too is really good too. Good stuff. Whoop. Anyway, yeah, he's like one of my favorite artists. Just extremely appealing, extremely attractive work. Just, you love looking at it. Anyway, yeah, that's step 2 by Hisashi Eguchi. And then this one I picked up not at a bookstore, I picked it up at Sakaido Art Store and Supplies in Shinjuku. It's BW Acky Bright. So Acky Bright's kind of an up-and-coming illustrator. He's super popular right now. He just did a ad campaign for McDonald's in the US called the McDonald's ad campaign. If anybody saw that, the manga-style artwork for McDonald's, he did that. He coordinated that. I don't know if he did the art himself. He probably did a lot of it, but yeah, he's kind of got his style down. Like he does like girls and robots, basically. He's kind of the new Rakuga King next to Katsuya Terada. Just full of imagination. Great line. That stuff's great. Anyway, I'm a big fan of Acky Bright's work. This is very similar to the work he does at that McDonald's ad campaign right there. As you can see, you get a idea of his style for sure. Yeah, so he is on Twitter and Instagram at Acky Bright, so I highly recommend checking him out online. He's around. He's gotten more and more popular as he's gone on. This is a lot of his early stuff I remember him posting early on. Yeah, just a great talent. Knows what he wants to draw. Oop, postcard right there. So yeah, Acky Bright. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Check him out. And yeah, highly recommend checking out Sakaido if you get a chance to. Amazing art store. They literally have everything you could ever want. I had a list of things I needed to pick up while I was there, and they had everything. So super thrilled with that. Sorry, plane just flew by. Alright, and then I also went to the Junji Ito exhibition in Setagaya Literary Museum. And that is going on until September 1st. So if you are in Tokyo until September 1st, go check it out. An amazing exhibition of Junji Ito's work, as you'd expect. This is the exhibition catalog. I mean, look, it's Junji Ito doing his thing. You can't beat that, right? All of his grotesque beauty. This one's a little less grotesque. This one's for I believe it's like an ad for an album cover or for a J-pop band in 1990. Yeah. Gonna be careful about what I pull up because I don't know if anything's gonna get me flagged on YouTube with his art. You never know. But yeah, really happy I picked up the catalog. It's weird creepiness. Some Uzumaki stuff going on there. Yeah, as I'm sure most of you know, he's most well known for Uzumaki, Tomi, Gyo. He's done a lot of short stories in manga anthologies. I like that one a lot. That one's super weird and creepy. So yeah, really thrilled to pick this up. Love seeing his rough work, planning out thumbnails for his manga. This is early ones. You can kind of tell they're early. It looks like this is Tomi. Yeah, it's Tomi. You can see the birthmark next to her eye. So yeah, definitely go to this exhibit and get the catalog if you get to Tokyo before September 1st. It's absolutely worth going to. Loved it. Alright, this next one, I was not on my list, but I found it and I had to get it. I'm a big fan. I'm going to cover my hand right there. Hideyuki Kikuchi special. This is Apocalypse Warrior by Hideyuki Kikuchi. It's illustrated by Hosomu Shinichi. if you know Hiroki Kikuchi's work, you'll understand what you're in for. This guy did Wicked City, Demon City Shinjuku, and probably most famously Vampire Hunter D. He wrote all of those. This is a manga special he wrote. Only 750 yen. I actually think I paid only like 500 yen for this, so I had to do it. Apocalypse Warrior is a one-shot manga he did. Look at that opening. Like, it's so awesome. You already know what you're in for, right? Like, this is pure 80s Showa shonen sci-fi action. So it's like a story where, yeah, there's like an outbreak. It's like almost like a zombie outbreak. And our hero wakes up, has to save the world from zombies. So if you've seen Demon City Shinjuku or No Wicked City, this is very much in a similar like style to it. So yeah, I was super thrilled to get this. It's the villain. Very excited to read through it. I don't think this will ever get published in English. So yeah, I'm super psyched to look through it. I mean, it'd be a really easy sell. This is the kind of stuff that used to be really popular in the US. I'm surprised it didn't get published back in the day. So yeah, there you go. Kikuchi special, Apocalypse Warrior. Check it out. Oh, and there was the cover I was going to show. It should be fine. It's all covered. Alright, and then here's a really exciting one that really sparked joy in me. I saw it and I had to get it. Gato 20th Memorial Issue. This is a beautiful and insanely big collection of Gato from the first 20 years of the magazine. Look at this spine. Look at that. That's crazy. Hundreds and hundreds of pages of manga. So Gato, if you don't know, Gato was a magazine, avant-garde manga magazine published from, what, 1968? No, or 68 to like 2000. And it was run by the editor, Katsuichi Nagai. And it was initially his attempt to publish something, manga, left-wing manga, specifically wanted to showcase Sampei Shirato's work, who was the creator of Kamui. And it kind of turned into just being a magazine for avant-garde manga. And a bunch of different artists were featured in it. Artists like Shirato himself, Shigeru Mizuki, famously enough, the Tsuge brothers, so Yoshihara Tsuge and Tadao Tsuge, Ryoichi Kagami got a start in here, Hideshi Hino. It was an opportunity for artists who didn't want to do commercial work to do something more outside of it and do more avant-garde manga. Obviously this looks a little bit more commercial because it's Tsuge style, doing his left-wing samurai fiction, humanist samurai action. Here's Mizuki. Anyway, this book is amazing. There's so much in here. Like, I'm gonna have to comb. It's gonna take days for me to comb through this and read it. I believe this one is Ikigami. It's early Ikigami. This is before he had his like style you think of like in Crying Freeman and stuff in Sanctuary. Yeah, so this predates like stuff like Raw in the US. When Art Spiegelman was doing Raw, a lot of these artists ended up getting featured in Raw. I know Tsuge had some stuff featured in Raw. And an artist we're going to be talking about in a minute got featured in Raw. Yeah, I love this. This is so great. This is, I think, Tadao Tsuge. Right here, because I've seen this image before. Yeah, this is Tadao Tsuge. This is, what's his name? Abandon the Old in Tokyo. I forget that artist's name. I have his stuff over here. What is it? I can't see it from here. But yeah. This was the cutting edge. This was when people. Oh yeah, here's Shigeru Tsuge. His work. This is not screw style. Negishiki, which is screw style. That's like his most famous piece. This is another piece by him though. And the intro does make it clear that they didn't want to do any serialized stories in here. They wanted to do one-shots because they wanted to be an overview and contained. But it's an excellent overview of Raw and the kind of output they did in their prime and the kind of artists they featured. So if you want a great taste for the work that was featured in Gato, this is absolutely the book to look at. And this was only 4,000 yen, by the way. That's like $34. I was amazed that I got this much manga, this much important, like, historical manga for less than $40. Just was like, blew me away. Alright, so there's that. And then this next book is one, if I can find it, because I just saw it and now I can't find it. Here we go. Alright. So this next book was one that, when I first went to Japan, I had seen in Mandarake's like glass windows, and it was 8,000 yen at the time, and then the price just kept going up because the book had been out of print for 35 years, and it's amazing. This work is amazing. Shigeru Ito, he's an unheralded genius as far as I'm concerned in manga. Barely known in Japan, and he's not known in the U.S. Could have fit in with Gato, but he was not in Gato. These were published, I believe, in the Shonen Champion books, and they were like mostly one-offs. This was his collection, Chocolate Sphinx Think, or the Thoughts on the Chocolate Sphinx. Title's just kind of an abstract, non sequitur. It's really a lot of one-shots about coming of age and young romance, things like that, growing up. Generally featuring different characters, but a couple of the stories feature the same characters in them. And yeah, this guy, he needs to get his stuff published in the US. Like, where it needs to be in English at the very least. I think there might be a French edition of some of his work, but there's definitely not anything in English. And he has at least like one other book that's been published, but also is again out of print. And then I think he switched to doing children's books because it's just more lucrative than doing manga. But he's definitely a talent. His stuff needs to get rediscovered. Or it's been rediscovered because this got republished, and I got it for 2,500 yen at Mandarake, when originally this was out of print for like 30, 35 years and was getting more and more expensive. I think it was crawling up to like the $100, $120 range for the book, so happy I finally got it. Hit the bullet. He's an absolute talent. Yeah, love his work. So very happy to finally get it in English, or get it in a form that I can read without spending triple digits on. So there's that. And then right here, got these. The books. This is the entire library of. Let's print it up a little bit there. This is the entire library of Shigeru Sugihara. And Sugihara, this guy was already in like his middle age when he did these books. These are from like the 50s, maybe 40s, 50s, 60s. He just got a wacky style. It's like, feels like an old Max Fleischer cartoon, like old Betty Boop cartoons, but a weird surreal bent to them. Like, just looking at his work, it's like, look at this. Like, there's so much weirdness going on here. Like, just charming, but also like there's a naivete to it. He did get featured in Gato back in the 80s a little bit, and he was also in Gansfeld Press. They featured him at one point. I'm not going to flip through all these because they're all kind of like, you get the idea. But yeah, just wild stuff. And he's finally getting published in English. He did a Last of the Mohicans adaptation of all things. Let me see here. So I do have that. Here's the edition here, but this did get a U.S. edition. This from Picture Box, so they did publish it in English, and that's the first thing he got published in English. Weirdly enough, probably just because of the source material. But this is getting published in English in September. Ryan Holmberg's doing the translation, and it is Ninja Sorotobi Sasuke. So this is the second of his books that are finally getting published in English. But we need more. That's why I got all of these, because I was like, I need all of it, because who knows if this stuff's getting released in English or not. I doubt it. Maybe it will. If the Ninja Sarutobi Sasuke book does well, maybe we'll get more of his work in English, because it's a joy to look at. Just the weird, surreal elements to it are great. This is an early one for him, too. Anyway, so that is the Shigeru Sugiura collection I got. And this was 4,800 yen. All of these books, every single one of these books together in the set. 4,800 yen at Mandarake. I almost bought one of these books at a shop in Mandarake. It wasn't Mandarake. It was Nakano Broadway for 1,000 yen. And I'm glad I held off, because then I saw this and I was like, I gotta get these. These are an earlier edition. These are from the 80s, I believe. It came with this companion book that's like the history of Sugiura's work. Has like essays from different manga artists and different historians and writers. So very excited to look through that. And then my last pickup, last but certainly not least, we have Katsuhiro Tomo's Kawa. So this is something I've been wanting to get for a long time. I kept putting it off. I have all of Otomo's other art books. This is the last one I wanted and needed, and I finally picked it up. I probably spent, well, you know what? I don't think I spent too much, because I know how much it's been going for. The fact that I got this for the equivalent of $200, I feel pretty good about that. Because most places wanted like 20,000 yen for this. So the fact that I got it for a lot less than 20,000 yen, I feel pretty good about. And yeah, it's interesting, because this is, Otomo's art book came out after Akira had started, but there's very little Akira in this. There's only like 4 or 5 Akira pieces in here. Love this. Metro Farce is poster and packaging for a music video. I also love this book is bilingual. It's both in Japanese and in English. Here, I'll show you in a second here. Here, see? It's all of this in English right here. I think that's great. Part of that was because this was coming out right as the English editions of Akira are coming out from Epic in the US, so they knew they could sell it in the US. So that was exciting. I'm gonna do a quick flip through here because I don't want to. Obviously, we got Akira here. We had Domo. Oh, here's Genma Wars. This was an animated film that Otomo did character designs for. Look at that, it's so great. He's got some Domu in here as well. Let's see. These are all the color plates, obviously. Yeah, there we go. There's Domu. This was for the album, the concept album cover for Domu. That was supposed to be kind of like the soundtrack for the Domu film that never came out. There's Sayonara Nippon, giant whale. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's some illustrations for the title cards for the show You, which was a show aimed at teenagers that aired on NHK. It was a talk show for teenagers. Ryuichi Sakamoto did the opening theme for it. And then here's some comic stuff. There's Fireball. Guy's a machine. Just crazy. Some more Akira. Some Domu. One of the last panels in it. And yeah, outside of Domu and Akira, like a lot of his work is still not available in English. I don't know what the holdup is. Come on, we want your stuff, Otomo. I think a lot of it is that he's very self-conscious about the perception of his work in the US, maybe, or internationally. And I know he probably thinks like he's probably not super happy with his work when he was younger. It's probably not up to his own personal standard, which is fair. I don't think anybody loves their work when they're young, but yeah, I think it's important to see his process and his progress as the years went on. These are for a series of ads. These are for Canon. You can watch these on YouTube, actually. And then this ad's also on YouTube. It was for the Honda City Turbo 2, this big cyborg bulldog. They made a stop motion model of it. It's a wild ad. Man, the 80s were so cool. You just put time and money into an ad like that, it barely shows the car. These are for various different advertising things he was doing. Here's this is Farewell to Weapons. This was turned into an animated short in the animated film Short Piece. This was the original manga version. I love these VHS looking, like taped off TV. Like they took these panels and they put them on videotape, so it's just so they could get that effect. Oh, it's so awesome. Registration card. It does ask, like, do I know him from Akira getting published by Epic Comics, which is great. Here's more design work for Farewell to Weapons. Here's the main weapon in it that they're fighting. I love these models they did for these. It's so cool. Here's the Akira pinball machine. This was featured on the back of Volume 4 of the original collected editions. I think they did turn it into a real pinball machine at some point, and I know they did the Psycho Pinball game, Akira Psycho Pinball on the PS2 based on that. Here's all of Otomo's drawing tools in his studio. Super inspiring just to see that. I love that. I love stuff like that, honestly. It's so great. Here's all of his music with his cat. Otomo's a big music head. Kind of likes all genres, it looks like. Just trying out stuff. There's some character designs from the animated film Mani Mani Labyrinth Tales, or Mikyu Monogatari. It's called Neo Tokyo here. He did the last segment. It's called The Order to Stop. The order to stop construction, or order to cancel construction, I think. Some stuff that he has in his studio, like toys and various like gifts and models that he has. That's from the Centauri ad that he did. And here's some photos of him in his studio working on Akira. That was in late 1986 right there. Look at that. So inspiring. I'm just inspired by seeing the studio. I like he has two separate setups. He has the light box set up and he has the drawing desk set up. That's wish I could do that. Wish I had room for that. Gotta kind of use both. Anyway, there it is. So Kappa was the last thing I picked up. Can't say I was too upset I got it. I'm very happy I got it. I've been wanting this book for a long time, and now I've got basically all the Otomo art books I want. So thank you for checking this out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'm happy to reply, and yeah, throw a like my way if you feel like it. All right, catch you next time.